I think the that particular property you mentioned in the Earl's Court, what would be the real challenges, if you like, to roll that out in the mass market? I mean, clearly RuralZED operate, I wouldn't say just one-off, but a fairly low volume. I mean, the housing demand that we have in this country, where we're looking at sort of hundreds of thousands of properties per year. Could RuralZED, have they got a solution for that, do you think? Or
it's a good question. I mean, don't get me wrong, RuralZED's not the silver bullet, it's not a panacea, it's one way of achieving a zero carbon building, and one way which we're involved with. You know, I'm sure there are other ways, although no one appears to have built one yet, or at least without telling the outside world how much it costs to build, going back to the demonstration cars at car shows. It is perfectly, we could roll it out. If people wanted 100,000 tomorrow, okay, it's going to take a while to get the supply chain geared up, but no, it's perfectly feasible. It's you know, I'll tell you a bit of a secret about RuralZED, and this is its brilliance. It's medieval technology. It's a medieval barn with 21st century technology and insulation strapped to the outside. That's how Bill described it to me, so that I'm not going to upset him by sort of saying it to you. And the reason he chose a medieval barn, well, drive through the countryside, they're still standing. So simplicity is its strength. It's a timber frame, glulam timber frame building that you can extend in kit form to be 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, as many bedrooms as you like, and anything up to 3 stories in height.
Because that's really what we need, isn't it? Buildings which, you know, are not needing to be retrofitted again, you know, in a 10, 20 years' time. It's trying to future-proof them.
Absolutely, and what we're seeing in the industry right now is 2 different approaches. You have got the mass market house builders who have product A, B and C and have been churning these things out for years and years and years. And it is a product that industry is looking at and going, well, these are our house types, this is our product, this is what we sell. We can't really just throw this in the bin and start again from scratch, so why don't we hang some, and I'm sure you've heard the expression, green bling to it, and that'll get us to code 3 and to code 4, and indeed it does. Yes, they have to up the insulation levels in the walls, etc., etc. And to be honest, some of the larger volume house builders right now are taking this very, very seriously, and they're throwing themselves into this because this is the future. What Bill and, in my opinion, the smarter architects and house designers out there have done is they have looked at the end game and said, well, where ultimately are we going with the design of the house? Oh, where we're ultimately going is code 6. So why don't I start by designing a code 6 house and then take things off it down to code 5, to code 4, to code 3. The benefit of that, particularly as far as housing associations are concerned, is they can buy a code 3 house now, and when funds become available, they can upgrade it to code 4, to code 5, and eventually up to zero carbon, code 6. So it's fundamentally, it's a different approach. I mean, to be honest, I think if you went to a car manufacturer, and I use them as an analogy because it's a good analogy, it's mass production of a product, and you said to a car manufacturer, I need you to produce me a car that does, let's say, 400 miles to the gallon. They wouldn't start with the Ford Mondeo and start adding things to it. The smart manufacturers would go, well, hang on a minute, 400 miles to the gallon, we need to rethink fundamentally how a car works, and they would start with a clean piece of paper that probably didn't have the internal combustion engine at the heart of it. So, as an analogy, I think that's exactly what Bill and some of the smarter architects have done. They have looked at house types and gone, well, zero carbon means we have to start again. So that's what they've done.
So in one sense, the volume builders, you know, we could see in the future there having to be a completely different change of design. I mean, we're going to have to get used to seeing something other than a brick box.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think this is something that, particularly in this country, we are guilty of. I think, you know, let's face it, when we were children, and someone asked us to draw a house, we drew a box with a sort of triangle on the top of it for the roof, a chimney, 4 windows and a door in the middle. If you ask a child today to draw a house, that's exactly what they draw. If you ask a child 300 years ago to draw a house, that's probably exactly what they would draw. House design hasn't moved on at all in this country. In fact, in the UK in particular, we seem to aspire to some mythical golden age where, you know, everything looks like it's in a Jane Austen novel. Now, obviously, there's been some fraught debate in the media, because obviously Prince Charles and the Prince's Trust believe that this is what Britain should look like. In my opinion, that's wrong. It's not wrong for people to aspire to it, but we are living in the 21st century. Why should everything that we live in look like it belongs in a Jane Austen novel, particularly if it's not sustainable?